yeah, guys, first rule of Blender, we will start with the default cube. So you never delete the default cube no matter what happened. It's forbidden, delete default cube. Okay, let me turn on my okay, my hotkeys. Now it's just a joke about the default cube in Blender. So yes, before we start, what is the 3D or 3D software? Who here never knew or never know or never play with Blender or some 3D software here? Just to know. I mean, who never saw a 3D software ever. But basically, a 3D software is a kind of infinite viewport, like I am just playing here, just to explain what's happening. It's a kind of infinite, it's like the universe. You can play it with God. You can create anything from everything. So it's an infinite space where you can create a lot of things, like whatever you can, you know. So you are free to play as a God, as I told you. So Blender, let's go. As the middle part here, it's my viewport. If you press the middle button mouse, you can rotate like we call it like a orbit rotate when you rotate around the object. If you press Shift and middle click, you do this kind of movement. It's called a pan movie, so like a camera on cinema. For who knows, it's a pan movie. And to zoom in and zoom out, you can just roll up or roll down your middle button, or just press Ctrl and middle button and move your mouse up or down, you know. Okay, that's the basic of the viewport that we have here in our space of 3D. So some things you need to know, it's about the UI. That's the viewport, the Blender. It's a default for everyone. On our left, it's our tools we need to use, like here I can move my object, here I can rotate my object, here I can scale my object. All right, there is some hotkeys for this, like to move it, you can press G and you will move your object. To rotate, you can just press R. You can see all my hotkeys on my right bottom corner. R, you can rotate, and S, you can scale. All right, so that's just the basics of Blender. So viewport, tools, and here it's some properties of our Blender objects. Like usually you be here in Island, and you can see how degrees it's rotated, the scale. You can just play here and here, so you can see the dimensions, the scale, the rotation, and the location of my object. All right, so at the top we have the classic tool menus. I will talk with them later, and we have some presets, but actually I don't use these things here, but some people use, like modeling. It's a better to modeling, sculpting, it's better to sculpting, but to be honest, I never use all of this. I always keep my layout as default viewport. All right, so top left is the list of our objects and our collections where we can organize our project. And top bottom, there's a bunch of those here. I will talk with them while I am doing the 3D modeling. All right, okay, so some settings for some people is maybe asking, your Blender should look like this. It's just one material, and don't worry what I am doing right now, I will explain this. But some UI change that I do on my way, it's like I don't like this blur. I really don't like this blur, so I just click here. It's the overlay properties, so you can disable and enable whatever you want. So I always took off the blur. It's very annoying for me. And in the viewport settings on the shader, it's just how can I say, it's just a preview. It's not rendering or something like that, but I always like to use a matcap because I think it's more visible for me, and I always use random. So as you can see, I have 3 objects, and all these objects have a different color. So when I duplicate this object, he will always changing the color. So I will know what the object is different from the another one. Okay, so as you see, I duplicate all of them, and you can see here, he created a lot of cubes here. Okay, so that is my object. Something important before we go, I will delete. To delete the object, it's just X. Press X and we'll appear delete. We will have this delete. You can see this white red little dot. It's called a 3D cursor. What is this 3D cursor? It's basically the origin of your universe of 3D viewport in general. So it's where when I create something, it will born it, will create it like here, you know. If I press Shift A, it's our menu of creation. I will have a lot of objects here, right? So let's create a kind of monkey. When I create a monkey, as you can see, the monkey was created on my 3D cursor, this little dot. If I move, or to move this little dot, I can just press Shift and right click. We will move this 3D cursor, and we can create like a plane here. He will be create right here. Okay, it's just to know where we can create and where our objects should go. It's the 3D cursor, it's the base of everything. Okay, so we have some add-ons. What is add-ons? Add-ons is a kind of plugin. Okay, before we go for that, someone have any question? Can I unmute them, Joe? Or they can type on the questions. It's about the UI or 3D cursor.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to just toss them in the questions channel. And if you want, you can ask now. But I should be able to answer them in the questions channel also.
Okay, okay, guys, go for the question channel if you have someone. And oh, okay, don't worry, Zach. I will like not Zach. Don't worry, Chili. I will teach you during the class. Shift A. Yes, but I thought he was thinking about the duplicate. Okay, add-ons. We just type some table. Okay, we are good to go. Let me back here. Okay, so about add-ons. Add-ons is our friend. He did basically that to do a lot of easy work for us. Like let me check here in edit preference, and you can go here in add-on. As you can see, we have a lot of add-on, and yes, more add-on to add. Some add-ons is default for Blender that will be very helpful for us. That how can I say, it's more easily to play with Blender and do this stuff more fast, you know. Sorry. And there is a list that I want to show you. First of them, it's Boo2. I think Jambo wrote this on the announcement chat. What is Boo2? Let me create two boxes here. Shift A, cube. Okay, where is his? Okay, I can duplicate with Shift D. Shift D, I can duplicate my cube. Okay, so let's play with a modifier. What is a modifier? Modifier is a kind of thing that we can change our object without destructive, without how can I say, destruct our object, you know, without breaking them. Because let me show you something first, but don't worry about it. When I enter in edit mode, pressing tab, okay, I am able to edit vertex, edit faces, and however you want. Okay, if I press tab, I enter in edit mode. You can see here on top left my screen, edit mode and object mode. So I can start to editing these objects, like the vertex, which is the point. Pressing 2, I will select the edges, and I can move it, scale, rotate. And the 3 on my, not numpad numbers, but above key QWERTY, my keyboard, and the vertex, the faces, same. Okay, so in edit mode, I am able to edit my object. And if I like, how can I say? If I extrude or do something like that, it's a destructive workflow. Like I can't back and of this. If I want to back on this, to enter in edit mode, it's tab. So if I want to redo these things, I need always to press Ctrl Z. So it's a kind of destructive workflow. About non-destructive workflow, it's with modifiers. For example, Boolean. Boolean, it's a really cool modifier where can I cut, joint, and intersect some meshes. Like I add modifiers in this modifiers property, add modifier, and put like Boolean. And Boolean, I can choose which kind of Boolean I am using. I will select difference, and I can select the object I want to do this. So I select the other cube, but as you can see, nothing changed because I need to change the viewport to see what's happening here or apply my modifier. Because the difference is, let me show you first on here, object properties, yes, object properties, and viewport display. Change this object, is displayed as textured, change to white, so you can see what's happening. So let me back to my modifier, and I can see, okay, what's happening. This should be applied. That's very odd. Okay, my bad. It should be intersection. Should be intersect. So, what's happening with my Boolean? Damn, I don't know how to use default Blender again. Okay, with Boolean, as you can see, it's way quicker. Okay, I applied Boolean on the wrong cube. So select this cube or whatever, just this with white frame. Select the other cube where you can see the texturing, add modifier, Boolean, difference, and just select this one. So as you can see, it's cutting my object, and I can change this cut, you know, it's very cool. So I can change for union, when they will be joint, the meshes, or intersect, where is the take the negative space from the both of meshes, you know. So Boolean, it's basically a modifier that we cut things. All right, so I can edit this mesh, like I can just join here, move, scale, and it's a non-destructive workflow because I can just turn off the modifier and we are good. But the boot tool, as you can see, there's a lot of work to select this, select the Boolean, select the IRP, and pick my mesh. And with the boot tool, the software where the add-on that we activate here, it's just activate, and you can put here display as wireframe, okay, because we'll do all the work that I did here to display as wireframe, doesn't need to be done, okay, this will do automatically. So how it works, you can select first, you select the mesh we will cut, and second, with shift pressed, we will select the object we will cut, you know, so the object that's it's the cutting and the objects that we will cut. So if I press Ctrl menus, as you can see, they already did all the Boolean work for us. So I don't need to come here and add Boolean, add different, select, and change the wireframe to see as the display here, right? So Ctrl minus, he will do this for us automatically. So that's one add-on. If I press, let me delete this Boolean, and if I press Ctrl plus, we will join, as you can see, as a union. And if I press Ctrl divide, it's divide or slash. Ctrl slash, he will cut for us in two pieces here. So as you can see, we will have two parts of cube. It's just a add-on to speed up our Boolean modifier. All right, so don't worry about it. Okay, another add-on, it's very useful. It's the pie menu. Pie menu. Where is you? Pie menu. Damn, where is pie menu? Okay, pie menu editor. That one. Oh no. That one is a paid add-on. Forgot this one. It's that one. 3D viewport pie menus. All right, so as you can see here, there's a lot of hotkeys that we use constantly. edit preference out. Thank you, Jambo. So that we use constantly. But like when I press Ctrl S to save my scene, in a default Blender is a list. So it's a kind of annoying for me at least. But when I want to save, this will pop up this kind of modifier, this kind of menu will be more easily for us. Like I want to save, I just press Ctrl S and I drag my mouse here, save my file. Let me save here. Workshop. Okay, workshop 2. And save my file. When I want, for example, I moved my 3D cursor and I want my 3D cursor back at the center, I can press Shift S. Okay, you can see on my bottom right, Shift S, and I can just press cursor to world origin. What this does, move my 3D cursor to the world origin. So if I lost my 3D cursor, don't worry, just press Shift S, cursor to world origin. So the pie menu pop-ups a lot of useful menu for us, like Shift S, Ctrl S, and so on. You can basically just see here. I will explain more while I am doing the the fountain. All right. So we have another one is called Astro Objects. You can just activate both of them. Astro's objects, there is a bunch of different, like you can just play here in Astro. There you create a lot of different geometry and primitive for us. You can just basically play with this. There is a lot, so you don't need to model a gear from zero. You just have on Astro Objects a gear already modeled. All right. So Astro Objects, it's the Astro Objects as a primitive that we can start. So it's not everything from zero. All right. And we have Edge Flow. It's a very useful. Okay, let me get the link. I will drop on the chat. Do we have the link, Jambo? Okay, I got here. And it's a good way to teach you how to install an add-on. Okay, so this add-on is totally free. You can just come here and go to file. Is there go to file? No, it's go and download zip and save whatever you can. Someone say something? Okay. So to install an add-on, we come here, edit, preference, add-ons. It's very simple. Just come here and install and search for our add-ons. Like I have all my add-ons here, some paid, some freeze, and just drop the Edge Flow Blender, double click, install handle, and we'll be ready to use. So what the set flow does, there is someone with the mic unmuted here. So when we start edit, let me give you an example like a cylinder, and I will add some loops here. To add some loops, I join edit mode, Ctrl R, and you will see a yellow line in my object. If I scroll up my mouse, I will add more lines, and I scroll down, I will add less lines. So at the first click, I will do nothing. It's not a confirm yet. I do my click, and you can see I can move my lines that I created, right? And the second click is to confirm where my cut goes. All right, so Ctrl R, they will show the preview, and I can just press the click, and I can choose the way there will be my cut. All right. Okay, about the edge flow. Let me select this face, press 3 on my current numpad. Right, okay, above my left rent. And just press E. E will extrude my face. This means we'll create another face with the polygons. Just press E, you push the polygon forward, And let me select a loop here and at the middle of my cylinder. And I can just press Alt and select this loop. As you can see, Alt and click will select all my loops. All right, so I will just scale as a scale and move out, and okay, we are good. That's a good example. So if I press right click I will be see here set flow, which is the add-on that we installed. So the set flow, let me give another example. Select the loop and shift out, select another loop. Okay, alt and click will select just one, but if I want to select more than one, I press alt shift and select another one. Okay, so I can press right click and set flow. As you can see, the set flow will find the flow of my object, so he will kind of not how can I explain, relax my mesh to find a better flow for this. And also, as you can see, I basically restore my cylinder. All right, so yeah, that's a basic about the add-ons. I don't think I will have too much time to tell all of them, but it's some of the good ones, and I hope you understand how to install and what some of them are for. Okay, so any question about add-ons? Nothing? Okay, very good. Okay, so before we start a real modeling here, what we need for reference? Never, never, never start anything without reference. I will drop this reference on the chat. Okay, I will give you all the stuff that I am using on the workshop after finish it, but never start anything without reference. No matter what is, never start like it's a simple fountain. Anyone can do a kind of fountain, but we need reference. We need reference to find silhouette. We need a reference to find proportions, and it's like a model a horse. As you guys is beginner, try to model a horse. You know, as a horse are in your mind, but you don't know how to model a horse because it's very different. It's like draw a horse, you know. Try to draw a horse. In your mind, it's something very beautiful, but when you draw something, it's like a donkey or worse, you know. So yes, reference is the key of everything in 3D or in art in general, right? So okay, I will keep my fountain here. After reference, you could grab a lot of reference, and some challenge for you that see this workshop after, it's kind of create your fountain. You can create this one or even this one. So but for the workshop to have time for it, we will create that one more simple, but you can challenge yourself doing the other ones. All right, okay, so after the reference, what we will need for? We will need scale. Let me explain about scale with to go for the other before I start. All right, so if you go here in this word, I guess it's here. No. Okay, it's here. It's about this menu. It's called scene properties. We will see the unit system is set at in metrics. Okay, that's the default, but I think its length is set at on meters also, but I don't like to use meters. I like to use centimeters. When I create something like a cube, they will show me the centimeters of cube. They have like 2 meters, but showing in centimeters. But this is personal. If you want to work in meters, no problem. If you want to work in inches, no problem also. But it just choose here in length what's better for you. All right. Okay, that's very important because when we were working in a metaverse, everything it's on the based in quotes in real scale, right? So I am giving you guys like these guys. You can, when you see this, go here in file, import, and import FBX, which is our main file format. And I will import the avatar from the Nifty Island. I import this guy here. And as you can see, this is our scale and proportional reference. As you can see, if you click in that guy, you will see here, he is on, okay, this tall. Okay, he have almost 2 meters. Damn, this guy is so tall. Okay, but that's basically on our metaverse or Nifty Island. That's our main guide that we need to have as a reference from scale, right? If I'm creating a fountain, let's see. Let's create a fountain. But before we create this, you need to think how to create this fountain. the fountain, it's basic, everything basically it's primitives. What I mean with primitives, it's square, cylinders, circles, triangles, and so on. So this primitive, it's like a cylinder. So we need to think how to start this. We can start a cylinder. Let me show something more complex. Give me a second. Let me search if I can get something here. Okay, as you can see, if I draw on my screen, maybe you can see that. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see I draw here? Or it's showing another screen? It's okay, Jambo? Can you see
Yeah,
I
we
draw
can see
here?
it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So as you can see, it's all primitives. Like this, it's a square, a rectangle, and another rectangle. So a square, everything is a primitive. Everything is a primitive. We always start with the basics, with the primitives before start detailing everything. So always start with the basics. Basically, it's very, very important. So we will start with some cylinders for this one. And let's go here, Shift A, cylinder. And when you create something or when you do an action in Blender, you will have this pop-up on the left bottom of my screen. So you will be able to change the vertices around the cylinder. Like I can increase or decrease, but I always, most of the time, keep like 32. And I can increase or decrease radius and the size and so on. So but basically I don't move it this one here. I actually press like SZ and I will moving GZ on the top. Okay, so let's catch up this guy here. Keep on the right, keep it here on the side of my fountain, and to decide the size of my fountain. If I press Alt and middle mouse and move from the sides, this will this will lock my viewport in a orthographic view. As you can see, it's a orthographic view. It's different from the perspective view. If I press 5 on my numpad, it will change my orthographic view to perspective view. The perspective view will show us better, which is 3D, but the orthographic view, it's basically, it's a kind of a 2D of the 3D. As you can see, it's too more flat, you know. But I use this just in front, like I said, press Alt, middle click, and move around your mouse. Middle click, move to the top, move to the bottom, and you can just basically find a view that will be helpful for you. Or you can just press, I don't remember, but I think 7 for the top on numpad, 9 from the bottom on numpad, 3 for the right, 1 for the front. But basically I always use my mouse. I don't like to take off my right render from my mouse. So I move from the front. Let's move GZ to found here, the base, and I can just scale. I think that scale will be good in my metaverse, all right? I think this could be cool. SZ, let's see my reference, as you can see, okay. But we will start simple, as I told you. Okay, I think that's good. It's a good size for me in my house. Just imagine this font or my backyard or something like that. And what I will do here now, before I start to detail everything, I should find all the proportions before I start to detail, because it's, how can I say, it's more hard to detail. I mean, it's more hard to change everything after detailing, you know. So we need to find all the proportionals, all the scale before I go. Okay, how I do this? Okay, we have another size cylinder here. I can just duplicate this with Shift D and press Z to lock on my Z axis. Okay, and I can just scale and start to find something like near of this before we move forward. Okay, like here, how can I imagine here? This, it's let's imagine we have actually the size here on Z-axis, as you can see here. If you want to see always use Z-axis, you can here on viewport overlay, Z-axis, and you can see the Z-axis is always up, right? Always up. and you can see we have 73 centimeters on this on this height. All right, so let's imagine we have 73 centimeters here, and visually you can see it's morphing. This it's a flat with here, and this it's like the double of the 73. You don't need to be 100% be sure of it. It's just visual proportionals, you know. It's just to have some thing in your mind to have, like, it's 73. Let's put more or less, don't need to be 100%, 73 above this part here. All right, and I think we are good to go. And for sure it's way more skinny. As you can see, I press S and I will scale. And if I press S and want to lock in an axis, I can press X twice, will lock on my X axis. If I press, how to say this word? Y, it's Y, this word, this letter. Okay, but yeah, I think it's Y. And ZX2, all right? So if I want to lock in two axes, I need to press S, and like I want to keep this skinny, I press Shift Z, and this will lock just on Shift Z, as you can see. He will lock the Z axis and will move just on X and Y, you know. If I press Shift X, will lock just on my X and Y too, right? So yeah, I will press S, Shift Z, and find more or less the proportional of this thing. I think there is something like here. Okay, so now I want to move my 3D cursor here to create a kind of sphere. As you can see, as I say, everything is a primitive, and here we can easily see it's a sphere, half a sphere, let's say. So I want to move my, how I make it flat again? What do you mean? Can I unmute you? I think, is that you mean? You can just press S and Shift Z. If is that you mean? I think it is. Z, Shift Z. Okay, now we need to move our 3D cursor here to create this sphere where is the right place, right? So press tab, enter in edit mode. We can just select this polygon, this face at the top, and we just press Shift S, and will pop up this menu. This menu is about the 3D cursor, and I can just cursor to select it. So my cursor, it's on the word origin. If I cursor to select that, they will move on where I am selected, right? So my cursor is here. If now I press Shift A and go to UV sphere, which is a kind of sphere, they will be create this sphere where I want, you know. So I can just reduce the size, as you can see. Let's imagine this UV. Okay, I will print this again. This UV, look at this. Press attention on the proportional, because this is really, really important. Okay, if we divide this on 3, we can see the sphere, it's a little more than that. Like, it's not 30 equal parts. This and this, it's a more smaller. So this big part, as you can see, like, look at the front. If we draw here, we can press these two, okay, on their left. We can also draw in Blender. So let's take some notes here. And if I change, there's something to change, like, okay, if I press here and I can just notate the line, click and drag, click and drag. And as I told you, if we divide in 3, it not look good, but something like this, it's okay. As you can see, it's not perfect, but as I told you, it's just an estimative or something like that. And to erase this, you just press Ctrl and click above the drops. Okay, let's press Ctrl Z, and I will scale this down something like this, don't need to be perfect. Okay, just Control to erase, and we are good to go. Okay, now we will start to play with edit mode. I need to push up this up GZ more or less here, and let me see my reference. I need to cut up the part of my sphere. Just press Tab, enter in edit mode, press 1 to see the vertex, and something cool, like when I select the vertex on this side, this will not be selected. Okay, how can I select the other face of my vertex, of my faces, or whatever? You can just here, okay, it's a toggle X-ray, or just press Alt Z. You will see it will be a little transparent, so I can just select everything here. Okay, so as you can see, I selected the whole thing of my mesh. Okay, select here, just press X, and we'll pop up this this menu, because the pie menu editor, and as you can see, delete vertex, delete edges, and delete face. Delete vertex will delete this vertex. Okay, as you can see, we'll delete this face. We don't want to delete this face because this is the half of my sphere. I just want to delete this faces, not the vertex. Okay, delete face, and as you can see, I have a half of sphere right now. Okay, let me just select this loop out. We will select this loop and press F for respect. No, just joking. Press F to fit with the face, you know. Okay, and we have here a half sphere. Okay, and what we will need now? We will need this thing here. Okay, for this thing, I will show you something very cool for this. All right, it's okay, but I will move my 3D cursor in my face, which is selected. Just press Ctrl S, same thing that we did here. All right, and now I can create, it's a kind of cylinder. Shift A, mesh cylinder, and we can just scale down. Shift Z to be skinny, same process that we did here. And okay, not too skinny, something like that, and I think we are good to go. This is more or less our proportional of the size or everything about the fountain. Okay, if you want to, as I told you, you can play whatever you want. I don't like this font. I see the reference, but I want my font like goes to the phone, and I can just play like this. So whatever. It's just to have as you can see, that's the part to see the size, the overall shape, the overall proportionals of our mesh, of your whatever mesh in your metaverse. All right, so now we can start to refine our model. Okay, any questions now? Any question do I have? No question. Oh,
Feel free to unmute too if you want to ask a question.
yeah, exactly. Please. Just press X and go to top right and delete faces. But you don't need to follow me up on right now. You can just see the replay of the class. I think Jambo is unmuting when I ask for something. Okay, Jambo, can you take care about it? Oh, I think it's just with me. You can change this. 1 second, let me give permission.
You know, why don't we keep going? And if anybody has questions, I can answer it in chat, and then I'll try and figure out the voice chat thing as we go.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, we have all our bases here. Let's start to refine our model. Okay, what we need here, we need to cut out this part here. and create the waterfall and so on. Okay, before we start, let's start with the bigger part, which is this one. Let's enter in edit mode, and we can press Ctrl R, and as you can see, it's the loop cut that I told before, and we can just left click, and if I move it with my left click and you want to put this on the middle, you can just press right click. It will fit on the middle of your cut. You know, if like I create a wrong click here and I move it, oh damn, I want this on the middle, so you need to search the right middle here. You don't need to, just press right click and we are good to go. Okay, now I will, as you see, we need to cut twice here. Okay, so we have a cut in the middle, and we can just select the whole loop, alt click, select the whole loop, okay, and press Ctrl B, which is the bevel. Okay, the bevel will like separate our loop in two loops, as you can see, right? So Ctrl B is the bevel where I split my one of my loop in like two loops, or if I scroll up my middle mouse, how many loops I want. Okay, but for in this case, I want just two loops in something like here. Okay, sounds good for you. And okay, now we need to push up all this center to the inside my fountain, right? As you can see here. Thank you, Kidzula. We talk soon, man. So what I need to do, I need to press Alt and select here on this vertical edge to select the whole loop on my face mode, right? I select my face based in my edges. If I want to select my vertical loops, I select on horizontal edges. All right, select here. And how we push this inside? I will using the inset. We can just press I. Let me type I. And just press I. And as you can see, it's a kind of bevel in a reverse way. He's creating a loop of polygon inside my selection. But if I press Ctrl, I can push up or push out our selection. So we are creating the silhouette of our fountain, right? So I will keep something like this and grow up our selection. So if I am not pressing Ctrl, as you can see, will be grow up between our loops. But if I press Ctrl, I will move the depth of our fountain of our loops. Okay, so I will keep something like this, and okay, that's good. Sounds good. Same here, I will select the top face and I will press I again, and as you can see, he's pushing my fountain, you know, he's pushing my loop. Okay, just press left click to confirm, and we are good until here, it's okay. And to push down this face, we need to press E from extrude to extrude down our part that will be the water, you know. So okay, we have something here, right? So let's see what we need more. We will need this thing with Diddy because there was okay. I just took the level on server. Okay, so let me select chat. And okay, we need this thing here, which is again cylinder. I can just duplicate this guy, 50D, lock on Z axis, and move down. And I can press S, Shift Z to, yeah, this video will be saved. S, Shift Z to move here. As you can see, I will get this proportional like we did in the whole modeling thing. Okay, but as you can see here, it's a kind of different. Here we have this shape. Here we have this shape. And this shape. And here we have this shape. And here it's the half ball that we did with something like this and water, right? So let's work for this. Now we need to cut this to keep like that guy. So press tab, enter in edit mode, and we can just cut here. As you can see, we need to keep it flat, as I told you. So it's too high. What we will need to do here? Enter in X-ray mode, select all the top vertex or whatever you want, vertex or face. Not bad, not bad, Zankichu. And move down a little to be, don't need to be perfect, but it's something, you know. This means so good. So good. Nice job for the first time. Actually, it's abstract art. Awesome. So, okay, now we need to push up this part. We can use the extrude, but if you will use the conventional extrude, as you can see, doesn't work. So when we press Alt E, we will have a lot of how can I say, a lot of options to extrude. So we need to choose extrude face along normals. So this extrude will be extruding in direction of the face. So as you can see, I can extrude in direction of the face. I will have the shape that we want here, right? Okay, we are good to go. From this, same thing, just press tab to enter in edit mode. Let's do a cut here. And as you can see, we need to do this kind of cut. We will do the same thing, loop selection, Alt on the vertical edge, loop selection, and press Alt E, extrude along normals. As you can see, we are extruding to create this kind of filer, but as you can see, it's not too hard or something like this. Let's push this up, Alt select the loop, and select just this loop and push up also. You have a different silhouette here, and as you can see, we have this kind of paneling or something like that. Control R, just confirm, right click to keep in the middle, and we can just Control B, and you will see we will bevel this stuff, and we will create now the paneling. Just press Alt E and extrude face along normals again, but not to out, but inside our mesh. Or you can basically do what we did here with the inset, so it doesn't matter. What matters in 3D is the final result. Doesn't matter to that you are using, but as you can see, it's the same. Like, just give me an example. I will do the same, but here I did with the inset, and here I will do with the extrude. So it's basically the same. Doesn't matter, you know. So which is more comfortable for you. But yes, let's smaller this, push this up or something like that. Okay, we are starting to have some interesting shape here. And okay, here, same thing. Let me just delete this stuff. Okay. I don't know why I closed this, but we need to delete. Select this loop selection. Alt E again, and extrude face along normals to create this kind of detail here. Push up a little to be almost flat. Okay, and we can start select this loop, Alt right click, sorry, right left click, push up a little inside. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we need to EZ to extrude in Z axis, you know, and we can close pressing F perspective, right? Okay, we close it here. We need to create this paneling here, right? So create this paneling. It's the same that we did in the whole fronting. Control B, press inset, Control to push inside. It's a kind of water, I don't know. It's not too good resolution, this frontend, but it's something like that. Okay, but now I will show you something. It's not advanced. It's a kind of important thing. I think everyone needs to know about it. And how can we say that? I can press tab, enter in my object mode, and I can delete the top part, delete vertex. Okay, we will have just this plain axis here, this stuff here. And what I want to do here, I want to keep as one vertex. Okay, so how to keep this was one vertex? We press M as merge. Okay, man, it's the merge menu. Let me push up this little up. So press M, and we will see here at center. When we'll do this, you will see we'll have this little stuff here. It's called vertex. So it's just one vertex that we have that we tire out of our mesh, right? Yes, for sure. So I will move my vertex here, and I will imagine the silhouette of this stuff. Okay, so let's imagine the silhouette. It's a kind of hydrant or something like this. It's a something like this, right? So let's start to play with this. I will extrude up, extrude here, just trying to imagine the silhouette of this object. Okay, and extrude, let me see again. As you can see, I moved my vertex always in edit mode. Okay, don't move in object mode, because this will be some problems that I can talk in the next class about this little orange dot. So, but if you have a problem to do this, you can reach me out here on private. I will help you. Okay, so I will extrude again to create another part here, and extrude and extrude and onto the middle, because let's imagine I need to create this to be aligned with my origin, which is this guy. Okay, but just keep this in mind. Okay, we have just a kind of vertex extruded in this direction. Okay, and now we can create a kind of non-destructive workflow just playing with modifiers. I just came here, modifiers, add modifiers. I can select this modifier called screw. I just select, and as you can see, I already have all my part. Okay, so if I want to change something, we'll change the whole cylinder, which is really cool. I don't need to take just one cylinder and try to draw on the cylinder and create on destructive ways. So just imagine this modifier screw. It's something like what is the name? Okay, something when you are doing a vase with your hand. This movie, the guys do this. I know you know this. Oh damn! So I forgot the there fit. Okay, this one. So it's like you are doing this, right? Yeah, pure magic. So the screw modifier, it's something like you are doing this on the real life. You basically get the shape and turn on 316 rounds. Oh, sure, you can change this, like, but it's useless, just keeping 316. And you can change the axis, but you always will need to do the axis that work better for you. Okay, and we can change the number of polygons. If I came here and turn on my wireframe, it's here. Okay, on my overlay part, wireframe, I can see how my polygons, how my mesh, how everything's going. And I can just increase my step viewport on rendering, but we will talk about rendering soon. So okay, let's keep this as a 16. I will turn off my wireframe. All right, so yeah, I think we are good. So now we need to do some wider and refine more our model. Okay, so I will duplicate, enter in edit mode, select this face, and I can just duplicate and press Z. Okay, as you can see, it's just an empty face. Okay, so put whatever you want. Let's put here, which is the water, and I will press P. Okay, and separate. As you can see, pop up a menu, separate, and I just separate the selection. As you can see, that's my water. Let's put here, and we will do the same here. We can just press P here and separate. You will have our water here. Just a little up, And okay, right. I think we are good to move on. That is a blockout, a base mesh, or however you call it. So, but it's almost the design of our fountain. Someone have some question? We are good to move on.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, just type them in the chat, and if you want to say something out loud, I can unmute you too. But yeah, just let me know in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. No one?
Looks good. And just so everybody knows, we have a text channel called Questions just right above where the Blender Workshop voice channel is.
All right, sounds good. Can I move forward? All right,
Yeah,
sounds
let's
good.
keep going.
Okay, so now we will start to refine more our model. Okay, as you can see, it's everything faceted. Faceted, it's this kind of where the sharp edges, where it's not look smooth like that guy, you know. So what is this? It's a collector smoothing groups or out smooth. It's about the breakup of the vertex on our model. But to fix this, we just right click and press shade smooth. Okay. But as you can see, it's a pretty annoying right now, right? So it's a messy. It's too smooth right now. It doesn't look like more sharp edge or something solid here. Okay, but how we fix that to look great? We can here in the edit object data properties, and we will have here normals. Okay, we just turn on this out smooth, and as you can see, now we have the sharp edges where they need to be, and the smoothness where need to be smoothness. Like it's not too hard, like the face that like this. Okay, so I will select these lines. Okay, all of these lines. Do you guys remember the bevel that we used? Just press Alt Shift. Okay, press Alt Shift, select more than one look. And do you guys remember the bevel that we did, right? But now we will not use the bevel on destructive mode. We will use it on the non-destructive mode, like a modifier. So if I press Ctrl E, okay, we will have this guy here called, okay, edge bevel width. Click on this and push until to turn blue, or you can just play here. Okay, it's the same, Control E, or just playing edit data mean bevel weighted. So I will come here in my modifiers, I will plug in bevel, and it will pop up a lot of how can I say, a lot of properties about the bevel. It's exactly the same as I do here. Okay, it's exactly the same properties that we have here, we will have here. Okay, so but it's a non-destructive way that I show you. I can just press this, and as you can see, they are playing with bevel or not. I choose them, but to choose bevel just where I want to, which is the vertex that we already chosen, you know, we already selected for, except this one. Let me turn off the bevel modifier to see. Okay, we selected this one also. So turn on this, and I can choose the size. But there is something pretty weird here, right? It's look like, how can I say? Let's imagine without. Okay, that's a point. Let me note something here. That's the point. And when I apply, as you can see, this looks more far than this, right? Like this should be like 3 centimeters, and like this it's 1 centimeters. Why is this far? It's very important. I will not teach deeply about it. It's something a little complex, but as you can see, the scale of our mesh is different, right? So as you can see in X and Y, it's 1.2, and in Z it's 0.42, because when we scale in object mode, let me create something here. When we scale in object mode, the algorithm of Blender will scale here, right? So what I mean, it show it's scaled here, but when I scale in one axis, like we did here, right? The algorithm will understand that our object will have like 4 more modifiers in this axis, right? And it's happening here. So he is applying 1.2% of this object here and just dots for like 14% of this object here. So what I need to fix this? Just press Ctrl A and reset scale. Okay, so as you can see, it's fixed. So all the bevels now, all the edges will be the same size right now. Okay, so the modifier will not be pumped or decreased about the scale. Just press Ctrl A and reset scale, and we are good to go. Just reduce the size here. So that's the cool thing about the non-destructive modeling. It's like, I don't like this, I want more. Oh, I want to add more loops. Oh, I don't like this distance, I want more. So you can always play with this without structure your object. So, but let's keep like this, just so you see it's way more detailed, way more cool than before, right? And we can do this and all those things here. Let me see. Always before apply any modifier, be sure to look in item if your scale is resetted. Okay, Control A, reset scale, and oh, sorry, I forgot. I did this. It's I'm isolating the mesh. You can just press slash on your numpad, right? I changed this hotkey to be Alt key on my keyboard, but you can just press slash, and we are good to go. Just select the edges loop that we want, the bevel, increase the, oh, no, it's the added data, right? Not vertex data. Increase until to turn on blue. And shade smooth to turn it smoothness. And go here in object data properties, out smooth. And you can, if you item is not looking like the mine, you can play with this attribute here, right? So I will keep like a 45, which is almost useful in almost all of the meshes. And I will add bevel. And I can start to play with my bevel. Not too much. Don't need too much, like 4 or 5 segments on this part, more than enough, right? So as you can see, before and after, we will have a really cool highlight here on this part. Okay, same here. Shade smooth, edit properties, turn on the auto smooth, check the scale, reset the scale, and let's select some edges to keep as a bevel. Control E, bevel width, push to the right to keep it blur, the blue, and bevel. Change the limit method to weighted. Okay. Oh, that's something curious, because the bevel that we are doing, like, it's for angle, but it's working for us. But if I reduce the angle, as you can see, will how can I say, the bevel will take all these lines, right? So it's the angle between one face and another, and that we are doing. Select that the loops, we can just change here to width. So it's the, as you can see, it's the loops that we are telling to Blender to keep the bevel. You know, we don't need bevel all these lines or keeping on the angle method. As you can see, we just want the bevel on the line that we are selecting, right? So just keep this as a weighted. Same here, keep this as a limit method weighted, and let's start to reduce our bevel and to find something cool and add some more segments. And as you can see, it's way more cooler, right? Same here, right click, shade smooth, and we can test, like, add a modifier directly to bevel. Let me keep on my smoothie here, like 45 degrees, and add more segments. And okay, that's working too. We don't need to mark all the edges, you know. And about this guy, as you can see, he's a kind of weird, right? Why he's weird? Because he's flipped. Like when we have a face, okay, this is the good side of the face, and this is not the good side. As you can see, it's a little different. Like this is okay, but when you look at the invert side, you can see a kind of gradient or something like that. Okay, it's a more brighter. So, but how I check which side it's the goodest for my plane or my mesh in general? I can just come here in the overlay guides, and face orientation will show us if our face is good or not, right? Okay, this is not good because the modifiers flip at our face, and we can just come here in normals and unflip. As you can see, now we are good to play. Because there is a lot of problems that happen when our face is on the wrong side, like modifier doesn't work, the smoothing group doesn't work well. So just be sure after you finish your modeling, turn on the face orientation and double check everything. If everything is blue, okay, you are good to go. But when it's red, it's not too good. Okay, so yeah, we can apply this modifier. It's that we already want. Okay, if it's that we want to go, you can just apply this modifier. You can just press here and apply modifier, and now you can edit this. But without apply this, we can't edit this. Okay, we can't. I mean, we can edit this in our overall shape, but we can edit before we go. But this is what we really want, and just apply, and we can start to play with. Let me check. It's still okay. It's okay with the bevel tool. Put the bevel, and let's check the bevel. Okay, and we can play with the angle too. Like I don't want bevel here. Let me turn on my wide frame. So let me increase the segments. If I want, I don't want bevel here and here, so I can start to play with the angle to disappear. Okay, and I think we are good. Okay, remembering the scale, it's not good. Select Ctrl A, reset scale, and okay, I think that's fine. If I want to relax more this, as you can see, there is a kind of roll here. We can just press M and collapse or at center, whatever. Both of them will keep this at center. And if you will want more detail here, we can just add a loop. And now we can use the set flow. Remember the set flow, the add-on that we installed, set flow, and they will find the flow of my mesh. Set flow. And he doesn't work good in like limited in the last edge. I mean, like set flow doesn't work good. It's kind of messy. So he works just on the middle vertex or the middle loops. So set flow, that's okay. Okay, but that's fine. That's already a kind of fun thing. So yeah, I think we are good at modeling. What do you guys think about it? Jake?
Looks great. Yeah.
So I think I will go for the texturing and so on because I don't think we'll have time to do everything. All right.
Yeah, it sounds good. Definitely.
Okay, so we have our 3D modeling. It's a non-destructive way, so you can change whenever you can, whenever you want, the detail or everything that you want to do. Let me save my project. Remember always to save your project, always. That's very important too. And let's start to create some kind of textures. Like we did the 3D modeling and the 3D modeling to take a kind of render or something which is cool, or which is a presentable for someone for a Nifty Island or whatever. We need to create some textures, right? So about the UI, something cool. It's like when I take my mouse and put at the border of any of this splitted screen, right, of these lines here, you will see a little cross, right? So is that I don't use all this stuff because I always create my custom viewport. So I push here in my 3D viewport near the line, and you can see a little cross. When this cross appear, I can just click and move to the side. So now I have two 3D viewport, right? Oh, however I can, or how many I can create infinite viewport here because Blender is powerful. So to remove this viewport, I just select the cross that I want to remove, select here, and I want to delete the bottom one, select this and move down. As you can see, he will pop up dark. When it's dark, it will be deleted. So I click, and as you can see, I can delete or create more fan one. But now I don't want two 3D viewport. I want one palette shader. Shader viewport, shader editor. Actually, shader editor, it's where we start to create our material. Okay, what we have of material here? We have water and concrete, right? So before we move forward, we need to change our viewport to shader mode. Okay, you can press middle click here and move to the right or to the left and select the viewport shade. As you can see, we're loading, and that is our material, or nothing, because we don't create any material for this yet. So I will create a material for this fountain. I will select the concrete part, and I will be here, material properties, and I can create just a new material, clad concrete. And you guys will receive some textures, like I have some textures here, right? So all of you guys will receive it after the workshop that we can play. And okay, let's create some material. And before I go for the materials, I need to explain a little about the shader, which is our principal BSDR, right? Which is the main shader that we use in Blender. Okay, so the base color, it's basically the color. Okay, I will talk just about the important ones. So if you want, I don't know, maybe a ultra fountain, so you can play with this. For sure, it's a more complex than just change the base color. But the base color is basically the base color. The name already said it. Let's get something like here, a little more darker, maybe a little more less saturated. Okay, something like a grayish, yellowish, something like that. And another cool stuff here, it's like metallic. If you want a metallic ultra fountain. Okay, so we want something like metallic. Let's create kind of okay, I want a metallic pole at the ends of this stuff here. I can create another material, so I will clad this of metallic, and we can play the metallic. When I press metallic, as you can see, okay, let's just shaders move and our smooth. So as you can see, it's already a kind of aluminum or something like this. This metallic on shader define which is metallic or not on your model, right? So we can change the base color. We can kind of painted red metallic or something like that. Specular, we don't usually play with this, right? We usually play with the roughness. Roughness is the roughness of the our object. Like 0 represents it's very shiny, and 1 it's a very like a rubber, you know, something very opaque. Okay, so if you want something very metallic like this, let me turn off the saturation of this, and as you can see, it's a kind of chrome or something like that's pretty clean, right? So metallic, keep the things metallic. And roughness, you will work on the polish on the surface. I mean, how many opaque or how many shiny is our surface, right? So this is the most important thing for now, and I will not talk about of them because we are almost at the end of the workshop, but for sure we will do a lot of the future, so yes, we can talk about it. Okay, we created the kind of concrete, and as you can see, concrete. Let's add concrete to the other ones. So now we don't need to create a new concrete material. We just need to press here and push the concrete. And as you can see, we will have concrete at our object. Select this object, select the material, concrete. Select this object, material, concrete. And again, and again, and again, until you have everything as a concrete, right? But before we go, I will press Shift A and create a plane. Okay, I don't want this plane here. I want this plane on my floor. Okay, so to get the 3D floor, the 3D cursor on my floor, press just Shift S and cursor toward origin. And I press Shift A and mesh plane. Let's create kind of plane here. Let's create kind of concrete also, because we need a floor to this. But I don't want this kind of concrete. I want to bring here a texture. Okay, I want to have a really cool texture here. Okay, I will create a new one and call it the floor underscore texture. And as I told you, we have this stuff here. Okay, that I will send you after the workshop. And let's start to link some of these textures on our floor, right? So albedo is the base is basically the same of our base color. So just drag and drop the albedo color. It's called nodes. This is stuff's called nodes. So we created a texture node here, and we just need to plug the color in the base color. And as you can see, we already have some kind of texture here, right? But we need more to look more interesting. So here it's just the color, but if you look at the reflex or the roughness of this, it's too flat compared with the base color, right? We have a lot of detail here and there. So we need our roughness map too, right? So just drag and drop the roughness map. Roughness map is something important because roughness map, metallic map, it's always black and white, right? So we don't need color for this. Like, as you can see here, the albedo, we have color, and he set it as sRGB. So it's a color node. And for roughness, we don't have this. We don't need this. You need to change your color space for all the stuff that you have. It's black or white to non-color. Okay. Now let's plug the roughness with my roughness. Wait loading. And as you can see, we have some kind of details like this spots here. It's way more cooler than just a flat face. There is some kind of difference between our map now, right? Okay, we are good to go. And something important too that I didn't talk before, it's our normal map. Normal map, it's a kind of map here. As you can see, I will just drag and drop here. And normal map, it's a kind of how can I say, we need to create a normal map shader, normal map node here. Press Shift A, search for normal map, and just left click to confirm. Link color with color, and link the normal with the normal. And normal map also is always non-color, right? With normal maps, it's a kind of fake, as you can see the difference, it's a kind of fake depth on our map, on our plane. If you look on the side, it's just a plane, but if you look here, you can see a kind of fake depth on my plane, right? Do you guys get it? It's like, let me turn off this. It's a map that will create height. Like, look the difference. It's empty, it's something boring. But when I link with the normal map, he creates a kind of paneling. He really brings the life for the map, like the height of this floor. Okay, but this floor, it's too big. Okay, what we need to do to control this big floor, we want a repetitive tile here or something like that. We can just search for a node. It's called a texture coordinate, right? It's not texture coordinate. It's called, how it's called, Jake? There you, I control the scale. I forgot the name.
Texture coordinate
Texture coordinate.
and mapping right too.
Mapping, exactly, mapping. So we search for Shift A and search for mapping. As you can see, we can just plug this vector on all the texture vector. Okay, just plug all of them. So we will play just with once and they will duplicate to all of the maps. Just plug it in. And as you can see here, at the bottom of our mapping. Oh, sure, we need to create a texture coordinate before. Just create a texture coordinate before to give this object a coordinate of the texture, right? So it could be generated. I think that could work. Okay, that's working. Generated, it's work good for us. So if I play here, as you can see, now it's tileable. It's for every tileable, so I can play. Z doesn't matter, right? Because it's just a plane. And yes, Jambo's give a tip for me. He'd say it's work better with the object space. Okay, so play with the object. It will be good. Do you want to explain why?
Sure. Yeah, I use like I would use generated if it's more of a like purely procedural material, but since this is, a texture map, since it's coming from like a 2D space, I would attach it from the object space, which means it's like projecting from the object or UVs, but we don't need to get into UVs just yet.
All right, great. Thank you. So yeah, let's keep it as object. And as you can see, we can play on the tile. If I want, like, let's put 2 here and 2. I think that's good enough. Okay, we have the material for the floor. We have the material for the concrete. And let's create the water material. Just go in a new material, type water. And let's try to search something bluish, something like this. And water again. Okay, we already have some acuity fan and basically fountain here. Okay, about this guy, if you want to change this color, let's put a blue high. Okay, it's Nifty Island. We can create anything. Okay, a purple guy. So yes, we finished the texturing. We finished this overall texturing, but now we need to take some renders, right? We have the modeling, the texturing, but we need some camera and lights to keep this realistic. Not realistic, but we need to output all those files from our software, right? So any question before we move forward?
I think we can just keep going and we'll have the recording. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so if we change here to the last option here, it's called the rendering. Okay, viewport changing, slide heading. So if I press F12, right? Okay, it will not render because we don't have any camera on my scene. So let's create a camera. Shift A and press camera. Will be created here. You can just move a little far from there. Actually, I like to join on the camera, pressing 0, right? 0 on my numpad. I will jump to camera. That's my camera view. And I always turn on this checkbox here on press N to push up this menu, right? And there I go to view and camera to view, right? So when I move my viewport now, I am moving my camera. So I always use this. Let's move this out here and let's out view. Okay, that's my real render. It's like I want my camera, right? So now I will turn off this and that's my camera. If I press F, I always forgot 11, 12, 12, F11, 12, right? That should be our rendering, right? But it doesn't look cool because we don't have lights or anything like that. Let me scale up this. So before we move forward, we need to like this. Now I need to use like 2 viewports. 3D viewport. So I have this viewport to move around and this to see my render. My rendering is setting to render engine Eevee. Eevee is the best way to use when we are doing something for games, for metaverse, or however. Okay, Cycles, it's a kind of powerful render for sure, but it doesn't look, how can I say? It's not a real-time rendering like we use it in game engines or metaverse. Okay, so if you are using Cycles, you basically are cheating because Cycles is too powerful and and the engine can't deliver us this quality, you know. Okay, so let's keep it as Eevee. And if we go here in this little word, you can see we can change the color of our environment, right? If I will change it, the whole color for basically our word will affect everything on our scene. And something about this, something cool about this, it's like, let me create another UI here, create another tab, and I will create another shader editor. Okay, so I am playing with the shader editor here. Okay, it's vertical.
Back in.
Hey, I'm back.
Bring him back.
We gotta get that boy.
We gotta get him back.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay, good.
Let me share screen. Okay, we are good to go. Can I continue?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so yes, I created a new, splitted my UI again. Let me do this again. I don't know if you catch this. So push up this, and I will move to shader editor again. But you will see on my top left part, I will have here object, and I will change this for the word because the object is the material for the objects, right? As we did before. But now we want to change the word, like the color here. Let's change the word, and I will drop it for you HDR texture, which is an HDR texture. HDR texture, it's a based, how can I explain, in a map, in a right place in the real world. Like there is a site really good. I am dropping HDR. I'm dropping the link with the PDF that we will send you after. So it's basically 3016 photos on real life. So let's imagine where this fountain should be. Should be in a kind of park or something like that. So you grab some HDR, imagining the place where the object or however should be, right? So I grab this one. Oh, not that one. Grab this one. It's a kind of park. Okay. You can just drag and drop inside the word on shader editor, and we can link this color to the background and create a texture coordinate. Same thing we did in a mapping. Same thing we did could be generated. Now I guess vector and vector and vector. And as you can see, let me get out of my camera. We have this park, but it's rotated, right? So we need to fix this rotation. Just changing here, let's put 90 degrees. No, it's not this axis. Just find the right axis for here. Okay. Oh, I remember. So the thing here, it's the mapping, it's flat. We not keep this as flat. We need to keep it as a sphere because our map is a kind of sphere. So as you can see, we have a big park here. So in real world, our fountain should be there. Okay, so as you can see, the lighting is way different, right? Way more cooler, way more live. So let me turn off this, just delete this splitted screen, and we can start to play with the lights. You can basically press F11, 12, sorry, and this should be our rendering, which is, okay, better than before, but we need shadows, we need contact shadows, and so on. So let's start to create some lights. Press Shift A, and we will have here light, and we can use basically sun. A sun, it's a kind of simulation of the real sun that we have in real life. Let's move up, and we can move from this side, and I can basically rotate, like I can just pressing this little yellow dot and move there. And as you can see, the shadow, it's a perfect alignment with the sun that we have here. And okay, let's keep something like this just to have something. Okay, I think that's cool. That's a sunny day or something like that, but I want to do some changes on rendering. I want to increase the quality of my rendering. Let's go here in rendering properties, right? So in viewport we have 16 samples, and in rendering we have 64 samples, which is okay. I think most of cases 64 it's most than okay. When your renderings look like noisy, you can increase the value of rendering. Okay, but something cool that we need to turn on here, it's like ambient occlusion. Look the difference that we have in here just to apply the ambient occlusion. Look the shadows here. It's called the shadow of contact. Okay, ambient occlusion is called the shadow of the contact, something that we have in real life. So it should give us contrast for us on this rendering, right? And we can also screen space reflection, which is increase the quality of our reflection. Like our concrete, it's a little bit reflexive, but without the screen space reflection, as you can see, we can see the reflex of the water. But it's like a, let me create some metal here, some sphere, metallic sphere, and put some metallic material here, and downgrade my roughness and turn off. And as you can see, it's way different, right? So screen space reflection on Eevee, it's very, very important to have a realistic rendering on our Blender, right? But I think we are good to go here, and I think that is good enough. It's just a basic rendering setup. You can play with the shadows quality, like increase for 2K and 2K, but this will not change too much. To be honest, real good rendering, we need to play more with the texturing, more with the lighting and the camera, right? But now to rendering something to post on our Twitter or social medias or something, or like in PC4. Okay, guys, you have time. You have 3 days to do a lot of contents for PC4. So let's change some setups, because like when I press F12, okay, we have some cool rendering, but I want this kind of square to fit better on my social media or something like that. We need to come here in this printer. Okay, the resolution, it's full HD. I will change this like for 1080 for 1080, and as you can see, this changed the border of the safe zone of my camera. I can just move my camera near, or I can just use the technique that I show you and view, camera to view, and push here. Okay, to have a cool rendering from a little more from the top, and press F12, and I think that's a good render. To save this render, you just press image and save as. You can just save here workshop, and my first render PNG, it's good, save as image. And when we will jump here in your workshop folder, you will have your first render. So you could move the purple guy from the side, and I did this a little more quickly because we was almost on the timeline for the tutorial, but I hope everyone like it. I will be able to answer all the questions that you need, so you can reach me out on the private. And I don't know, maybe if Charles give me another opportunity to work there and create another workshop, I'd be glad to work on this. I think we are finished, Jake. I don't want to stitch this too much, to push this too much, you know?
Yeah, it's been long. Cool. Yeah, I mean, if anybody has any questions, like again, I think we're probably happy to answer a few. Thanks for coming. This was really cool. This was a ton of information too, so I'd really encourage
Yeah, exactly.
you to,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was just an awesome, like, overview of just like these, the basic things of Blender that you need to know to get started. But if you have any questions, like feel free to ask, either here in the questions channel or especially in the 3D workshop channel. And, either somebody from the community or myself or Brito will be happy to answer them.
Exactly. Just ping us in the server. We will be happy to help you. What do you mean, Falconeer, about export to FBX? there's not too much secret. You just come here in files, export, FBX, and choose the folder that we are good. Yeah. About the animations, I think the only thing about the animations, it's just keep the mature jump layer. What should be this bake animations? Just be sure this is activated, you know.
All right, cool. I think I'm gonna head off actually. Marcos, thank you. That was really awesome. And I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Let's do it.
yeah, awesome. See you guys. Thanks for coming.
See ya. Thank you.